Hello, welcome to Revelator Alf. Yeah, I am live. Would you believe? Chris, hello. Thank you for being around and yeah, sending a nice message as well. So, listen, I am here live. We're going to do a live show. I'm going to be talking about different things, of course, and I've got a whole list of things to discuss. I've been wanting to do one of these live shows for quite a while. I do want to do a regular sort of live show, and I've been kind of thinking of different ways of doing it. Anyway, so let's just get on with it, shall we? Really, I just wanted to say, look again. Thanks for all the support of the channel or the website recently. That's really helping. The website is growing and expanding with its content as well. The course, quite a few people are taking up the course now, or inquiring about the course, which I run there. There's also the members area, which I've developed now, and so the 3 levels on the members area. And basically, I've added content, exclusive content there already. So on the technical videos for Harley-Davidsons and motorcycles, there's actually 4 videos there now as well. So yeah, if anybody's listening, if you want to leave your comments, if you want to join in the chat, please do. But if you want to actually keep on sending any information, any problems that you've had with your bikes, your Harley-Davidson Softails, your M8s and your Taurus, of course, in particular, but if you've had any problems with them and you've had a resolution as well, write in an email via the website with details, and I'll see if I can actually formulate some kind of an alert video for you all as well, and that all goes on to the members area. Anyway, so I got a couple people in now. Let me just check my comments. So if you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up, and just let us know you're around. So hopefully it'll go quite swimmingly, and I'm sure I'll get a lot better at this as I go along. So I'm in the man cave. I've slurped some coffee. I really need to get like a coffee machine here, just percolating away, so I can just grab a jug and away I go. So I'm operating off a slightly different system tonight. I'm hoping that it doesn't fail on me like I did last time. I tried to do this, and then all of a sudden the camera just shut down. Chris, sorry I've not commented or anything lately. Been a bit mental here. Did you get the new unit yet? Yep, can see 5x5. Thank you very much. New unit. What was I on about? What new unit was I on about? I don't think I did. Whatever I have. Get the new unit. You talking about the bike? A new bike? That's still an ongoing thing. I've kind of chopping and changing my ideas all the time about a new bike, actually. So I'm probably looking at an off-road bike. I'm probably looking at a project build bike, as my preference right now. I still want to do a Harley build, but there we go. Motor Michelle, too early for cider. Do you know what? I was very close to breaking out the beers just now. So, do you know what? If you suddenly see me disappear from the video feed here, I've quickly gone off to get a couple of beers, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I was looking for a new space. That's right, Chris. Yes, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? I've searched and searched for a commercial space to have, let's say, a big workshop area, and mainly as a work studio type place, but possibly to expand it into some kind of, I wouldn't say a community garage, but something like that, where people can come and hang out and that kind of stuff. But it'd also be separate, so I could just do filming work and have it as a proper office, everything like that. Unfortunately, its availability and its pricing, would you believe, it's just crazy for what it is, and because of the rates. So I've been looking for somewhere that I could have like as an artist studio, in inverted commas, so I wouldn't have to pay like business taxes and all that sort of stuff. But unfortunately, it's just way out of the price range. It's not really workable right now. So if I ever did go that way, I think I'd have to make it some kind of business, some kind of going concern, just so it pays for itself, rather than just, you know, spending loads of money on something that is just going to be a drain. But yeah, the search continues if I can, definitely. But anyway, right, so what's been happening? I wanted to do this live show to not only give you updates of the channel and what's been going on. As I say, you know, there's been a lot going on the website, you know, with the content creator course and the 3 different levels which I've got there in the members area. So if you want to go check that out, go check that. There is lots of content going on there, and it won't necessarily come on YouTube in the future. I'm pretty much going to hold it there for a while. Some of the tech videos I might, but maybe not. Anyway, so there's lots of stuff going on there, and I plan to do more. There's lots of stuff coming on the YouTube channel as well. I've already scheduled now until middle of August. So there's lots of stuff coming. So I've been very, very busy. Chris, yes, it's insane in property right now. Yeah, absolutely. Keep the faith, something will happen. Well, hopefully. Thank you, Chris. But, you know, I really would like to get somewhere. And certainly, I mean, if I ever decided to do that kind of thing more, well, when I say full time, do you know what I mean, more as of that kind of format, more on a regular basis, I think I definitely would. If I really wanted to do more workshop type stuff, I would definitely do that. If I was if it's just this kind of thing, I can just do it from home. I can just do it from my man cave in here. And if it's very small workshop projects, yeah, I can do it in here, no problem. I don't need anything like that. But if I want somewhere where do something a little bit bigger, or have people come on by and do some bigger filming projects, yeah, definitely need somewhere else. I just can't do it. So you know, the weather's been pretty decent here in the UK recently, so I've been doing a lot more outdoor stuff, a lot more motor vlogs. They're coming as well. Obviously today, well, if you live in England, you'll know that it's been horrible today. And actually the last couple of days hasn't been that great, but today, where I have anyway, it's been raining all day. But there we go. Anyway, so there's lots of stuff going. I'm always working on stuff. I'm always working on videos or ideas to develop everything. The idea, I think, it's always been to make this a kind of self-sustaining thing for everybody, because I suppose what I really enjoy doing, I really enjoy the process of producing content, whatever it is. So it might not be popular, it might not get millions of views or anything like that, but that doesn't really bother me, actually. I much prefer to have a small group of people who are actually really interested in the stuff that I make, than rather than, you know, thousands and thousands or millions of people who are just idly watching and not doing, you know, not having anything. So I much prefer that, and I suppose that's what I've been developing. And that's what I've been trying to preach, as it were, you know, in this content creator course as well. And also that's what I've been hoping that at some point this will develop into something that I could take it to the next level as well, which I'm always, you know, hoping to do. But anyway, so that's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, lots of stuff on the website, as I say. But I wanted to make this sort of, I used to do live shows a lot, and then I stopped, and I thought one of the problems was that I wasn't doing them on a regular enough basis. So I wanted to try and do that a little bit more. I wanted to try and bring a lot more of a news show, but more of a light-hearted show as well. So, you know, but I also want to get more of an interaction with people as well, and I've always liked that. I've always liked meeting people. I've always liked talking to people, or people just coming up to me wherever I am, if they recognise me, right? And usually if I'm at a dealership or something like that, or, you know, on a bike place, you know, then I might get recognised if somebody's into this kind of thing. But otherwise, you know, you're just like a nobody, just like everybody else. James, hello. Relocate here to southeastern Ohio. Yes, lots of abandoned buildings you can move into right now. Yeah, I bet they're right. That's the problem. It's no matter wherever you are, you might have much better opportunity at getting somewhere than somewhere else, you know. But Ohio sounds like a lovely place, actually. Very nice. I know a couple of people out there as well. And now there was a chap years ago that I used to speak to on a regular basis. I'm not sure if he was from Ohio or not, but anyway. So yeah, lovely part of the world, James. Lovely part of the world. Anyway, so I've been doing a bit of digging around because I wanted to make this a bit of a news show, and I wanted to make it a bit more of a light-hearted news show as well. But anyway, so should we get onto it? I've kind of I've basically whittled on for way too long there, talking about me. You know, it's all about me. You know. But anyway, so I want to talk about some bike news that's happened the last sort of week or two. Harley-Davidson have been back in the news again. Oh, there's a surprise. And the CEO, what's his name? Joachim Zeitz? Joachim Zeitz? I don't know. Anyway, so he's been in the news again. And do you know what? We all know I ride a Harley-Davidson. I love the bike. I've never been that much. It's not that I'm not a fan of Harley-Davidson or the the company, the brand, or anything like that. They just frustrate me, or they just puzzle me. They confuse me. What the hell they're playing at, what they're doing. So the CEO has come out right this week. He gave an interview to, I think it's either Forbes magazine or the some Financial Times or something like that. Whatever it is, I don't know exactly which paper it was, but he's basically going on about the future of electric vehicles, electrification. Now, for those of you who don't know, Harley-Davidson with their Livewire, their electric bike, they've essentially pulled a bit of a fast one here, because what they've done, they said, right, okay, we think that the electric, well, this is what I think. Okay, this is what I think, not what Harley-Davidson is saying. Let me just say that right now. But I think what they've done, I think they've seen that their electric pathway, as it were, might interfere with the Harley-Davidson brand, the Harley-Davidson sales of their traditional bikes, right? So what they've gone and done is that they've separated Harley-Davidson from the electric bike world, and they've created this brand new motorcycle company, but it's an electric motorcycle company called, guess what? Livewire. Brilliant. That's it. Just confuse the hell out of everybody. I mean, you got a Livewire motorcycle, but you got a Livewire company. How does that work? John, hello, John. 5 a.m. New Zealand. Hi, UK. Your regards, John Martin. Hello there. Hello. You're up early, sir. You are up early. But anyway, yeah. So they've. I just don't understand this. So they've started this new company, this electric vehicle company. It's still out of their head offices in Silicon Valley or wherever it is. It's called Livewire, the company. They're going to bring the Livewire program into Livewire company, I think. They're going to bring out a brand new motorcycle. It was supposed to be the 7th and 8th, or 8th or 9th of July. It's now been put back to the 16th to the 18th of July as well, and it's some bike show in California somewhere, Sonoma bike show or something like that. And basically what they're doing, it's been called, this is a brand new bike. Okay, so according to them, it's called the Livewire 1. Livewire 1. That's the name of the new motorcycle from Harley-Davidson. No, sorry, scratch that. It's not from Harley-Davidson. It's from Livewire. Confused I am. You know, clear as mud, as we would say over here. Anyway, the interesting thing is that this Livewire 1 has the same kind of performance characteristics, the same kind of dimensions, the same kind of power to weight ratio and all this kind of stuff as the existing Livewire bike. This is so it's pretty much, a lot of people are speculating, say, well, is this just the Livewire motorcycle just being rebadged with Livewire company? And you know, and maybe a few tweaks here and there to suspension or to frames or to forks or all that kind of stuff. Who knows? Who knows? It could be. Chris, I've never ridden a live wire, but to be honest, let me just actually put this up here. So, I've never ridden a live wire, but to be honest, I do like the look, and from the vids I've seen, it's pretty good. It gets a lot of good press, or a lot great reviews. Virtually everybody who rides it likes it. I don't think many people like the price tag, but those who ride it say it's a great experience. So I've been led to believe. Yeah, LW1, live wire 1. Apparently brown green. So that, I mean, that's the interesting thing. So all of a sudden he's coming out to the Suggestion Insights, talking about electrification or electric vehicles or the future. Treat them well and let them lead the way. There's a song about that somewhere. And oh, hello, sorry, I've lost my feed here. And basically, he's going on about this, and you think, well, actually, where are your priorities now? Then, are your priorities with this new live wire company, the electric vehicles, which you could kind of understand if they're looking for the future, or is it with Harley-Davidson motorcycles? And so the question is, what's this new direction of this company? Where are they going? What are they trying to do? And I always put it down to this, and I say this time and time again, from my point of view. This is my point of view, right? Who are you trying to attract? Are you trying to attract old farts like me and people who are older? Or are you trying to, people who they've earned their money, let's say, they've got a lot of cash to spare, and they want to go and buy a £40,000 dollar shekel motorcycle? Or are you trying to attract the new rider? Because you're not attracting the new rider here. James, the price tag makes a live wire a non-starter for me. I think it's the same for everybody. James, let me just put that up there. Yeah, it's the same for everybody, James. That's the thing. Most people can't afford these motorcycles as it is. If you want to get a Harley-Davidson, most people will go into the used bike market, but they hold their value because of various different things. Jerry, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, John, agree, James. There we go. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting. I think let's be black and white about this. Nobody likes to talk about their own mortality, but let's face it. Us of our age and older, we haven't got many riding miles left. Let's put it that way. Yeah, we got a few, of course, but and we're talking in terms of the future of a company and future of everything. Yeah, we are a commodity of diminishing returns, let's say. So what does that mean? So you need to attract the next generation. The next generation not going to be buying £30,000-40,000 cruiser motorcycles, are they? Really? They might be when they're older, but not initially. So what are they going to do? What are they going to buy? That's what they need to address. They need to address grabbing people for the next generation who do not have a lot of money. So if you take now, obviously I'll talk about the Pan American in a minute and the new Revolution Max engine, but who are they aiming their market at? Are they just saying, right, we got to stick with the I know a lot of YouTubers and bloggers out there saying that Harley-Davidson just should stick to their traditional people, their traditional customers, and stop all this Pan American, stop all this live wire and everything like that. But if they stop that, if they just focus on the big tourers and the big soft tails, let's say, then they are a company that will die very, very quickly, because the next generation are not even interested in that. They're interested in something that's cheap, affordable, and there's lots of variation. Chris, here we go. 52 here and way out for me. I could do a 10 a lot. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Unfortunately, the future is boredom. Yeah, I would say so as well. I'm 664 and it's out of the question for me as well. Look, if you take a company, okay, now many people would talk about quality of motorcycle and all this kind of stuff, but let's say you take a company like Royal Enfield with their motorcycles, but let's just say one that I particularly like and I've ridden and I thought was a really cracking bike. There's no speed to it. It's pretty rudimentary in its design and everything like that. However, the Royal Enfield Himalayan, it will go anywhere. It will get you anywhere eventually because it's slow. But you know, the build quality has improved over the last couple of years, and you can pick that up for about £4,500 shekels, $5,000, brand new. You can get a motorcycle like that. And you think, well, actually, there's lots of other companies who are producing brand new motorcycles that will do a really good job for a fraction of what, you know, Harley-Davidson have produced, but also are ever likely to produce. So I agree that they want to, you know, target the people with a bit more money, and I get that. And maybe they want to think of themselves of, let's say, like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, to say, well, we're never going to advertise, we're never going to say, you know, how much our cars are worth, because if you want to know the price tag, then you can't afford it. You know, so you're really aiming for that top level tier of people, income earners, let's say. But Harley-Davidson aren't that. Harley-Davidson were never like that. They were supposed to be of the people, weren't they? They were supposed to be, you know, for the masses. Well, the American masses, let's say, the American dream, and it wasn't there. It's, you know, it's slowly dying away, that one, because older people are getting older. That's right, I think. Well, they're not getting younger, are they? But they're getting older. So you kind of wonder, you know, what is this Joshin Zeitz? What is he going on about? If he's talking about the future with electric vehicles and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, he's kind of ignoring the basic future of the main company, Harley-Davidson. You say, well, you need to, I've always said, they need to add variation. They need to add entry-level bikes. And when I talk about entry-level bikes, small cc bikes that do not cost a lot of money. When they had the 500 street and 750 street, they just cost too much money for what they were. People could buy other bikes for a lot cheaper. So why would you buy a Harley-Davidson motorcycle that not many people like or not many people want, when you can buy something else that does a much better job for a fraction of the price? Simple as that. There we go. There we go. There we go. Jerry, Harley sell you a bike, then sell you improvements. They do, but I gotta say, a lot of those improvements, those are what the customer wants and what the customer believes that they should have as well. There's a lot of brainwashing going on here. I'm convinced of it. There's a lot of people think that they have to do something when they don't have to do it. It's just what they feel owning a Harley-Davidson means, that you have to change this, you have to do that, you know. Beans, there we go. Ooh, sorry, wrong one. Beans, hi mate, just popped in. Sorry I'm late. Hope all is well. Yes, all is well. Ian, thank you very much, and nice to have you here. You're not late. You're never late. And here we go. Just reading here. There we go. Right, let me just get rid of that. So I'm not sure what is going on with Harley-Davidson, to be honest with you. I'm not sure where they think they're going. I kind of agree with this split in the company to go electric vehicles one way and all that kind of stuff. You know, they've come out with their bicycle range, their Serial 1 range, electric e-bikes. That's all good. I mean, it's all good. It all adds a variety. But I think if you're going to talk about Harley-Davidson as a company, as a motorcycle company, then they need to seriously think about changing the way they do things. And they've had opportunities. They've had opportunities to bring new bikes and lower cc bikes. And now the strong rumor is, and maybe you've heard this elsewhere, but possibly this, you know, you're going to hear it here first, that the small cc bike that they had planned for, well, China, but for India as well, the one that they were kind of working in conjunction with Chinese manufacturers, and similar to the Benelli bike, the 338, that they're looking at that, rethinking that, and thinking about the global market of that. And if they can get that at a decent price point, then you're talking, younger people introduced into the Harley-Davidson name and brand, and that's what they need to look at. And you know, I keep on saying it time and time again, you know, it's no surprise, it's no fluke that the biggest motorcycle manufacturers in the world do not make their most money off their signature bikes. They make it off their bread and butter bikes, and Harley-Davidson do not have what we call bread and butter bikes. They do not have a basic range, and that's what they need to, you know, they do not have a basic range, I should say, at a very cheap price, and that's what they miss out on. There we go. Here we go. James, it's too bad that S&S make a better Harley motor than Harley-Davidson does. Well, they make a lot of better all round, don't they? I had a 79 Sporter. Hardy couldn't tell, so Hardy couldn't sell me anything. Lol. Good old AMF. Yeah, there's a lot of criticisms of that era, wasn't there? You know, if we ignore the build quality, which you can't really, I still like the AMF years. I've got to say, the AMF bikes, I've got to say. Yeah, we really don't want to see any bike manufacturers go bust. I tell you what, I think a lot of them have been very close to it recently. There we go. As an old guy who no longer wants an £800 motorcycle, I would like to see HG come out with a modern small twin around 400cc. That's exactly what I think. Not a V-twin. Yeah, I say a single cylinder. That's what they need to come out with. Save that for the premium models. Yep, I agree. A single cylinder thumper. That's what they need. Definitely. There have been so many that have gone under, Jerry. Most of them come back somehow. Yeah, well, Harley-Davidson, let's face it, have come back time and time again, haven't they? James, 2019 Heritage 114 here. Traded my 2000 Fat Boy for it, and glad I did. Love the improved handling. Well, Heritage is a nice bike all around. Yeah, okay. Well, you're talking, 2000 to a 2019 bike for a start. Yeah, I hear so many good. I ride a Softail, okay, and so many good things about the Softails, but I hear so many problems with the Fat Boys in the Softails on the M8 engines, unfortunately. But there we go. Is motorcycling growing in the UK and New Zealand? Is very popular. Well, interesting. There was a report that came out just a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, that's saying that there is a huge surge of motorcycle tech. One wouldn't say huge surge, but a very pleasing, a very promising mini surge, let's say, of motorcycling take up, sales, that kind of thing. But we've still got to compare this to pre-pandemic as well, which is still, not as great. But it definitely seems that, as a politicians like to say, there are green shoots of recovery. I think that's what a lot of people would say. But yeah, definitely the bike sales have gone up, and but not just from particular motorcycle manufacturers. This is right across the board. But it's easy. I know it's easy to criticize companies for when they don't do what we think that they should do, and it's all about opinions. Of course, this is an opinions market, isn't it? It's an opinions show. This is what it's about, and you'll have your opinions, and they may agree or disagree with mine. That's fine. That's what it's all about. But when you see that they're in a particular company, let's say like Harley-Davidson, because that's what I'm talking about right now, but you could apply this to any company. When you can see and you recognise there are problems, they're almost handing, they're out there with a begging bowl, hoping that they can turn their fortunes around or whatever. That their market is an aging market and they need to readdress that, but they don't have the tools. Then you got to question what the hell's going on. You got to question why is that, and then you kind of look at yourself and say, well, if they did ever go belly up, I don't think they ever would, but I think if they ever do go belly up, then you got to say, well, we told you so. We've been telling you this for a long time, And how often do they not How often do they not listen to their customers? You know, this is not just a Harley-Davidson thing. You could throw the same mud, sling the same mud at BMW, at Triumph, at any of the Japanese four, you know, KTM, whatever. You know, they're all the same in that respect. But there we go. Look, this is the future of Harley-Davidson, is it? This is the future of motorcycling. So then they come out with a Pan America, which is great. Now, this is the worst kept secret, isn't it, in motorcycling? You know, and I've said this time and time again. They gave too much information too earlier on, but they didn't give any information either. So it was just too long, and there's so much confusion. It still is confusion about the other models that they will or won't bring out now. So they brought out the Pan America. You saw my review. If you saw my review of it, on the whole, I think it's a very good bike. It's a very capable bike if you like big adventure bikes. I don't think big adventure bikes are suitable for my kind of technical off-road riding, because they're just too big and heavy, especially if you're going solo. If you go, this is what I've always said about adventure bike riding. It's okay if you're going and you want to go into tricky stuff, you know, rutted stuff or whatever, and you've got 10 of your friends with you, so if you do fall off, then you can all pick it up together and everything. That's all fine. But let's just do it by yourself, and let's see how, you know, let's see how you feel after having to pick it up 5 or 6 times in awkward locations. You know, let's just see that. But anyway, so the Pan America as a bike, as a concept, is a decent bike. They've surprised a hell of a lot of people, haven't they? You know, people have gone in there. You know, I'm sure I haven't watched many of the reviews, but I'm sure, you know, others would have said that it's, you know, a decent bike, decent handling, good effort, all that kind of stuff. But again, it's at the wrong market. I still think it's at the wrong market. You know, you've got other manufacturers who are still looking at keeping their, let's say, their top end big adventure bikes, but the market is coming down for smaller bikes. Why? Because you'll have a lot more fun on smaller bikes. Let's say like a 700cc, 800cc. You could still do longer journeys on that bike as well. You know. So why have they just come out with that bike and not come out with a smaller bike? And this lends itself to, again, the criticism of the Harley-Davidson and this brand new engine, which I think is a really good engine, this Revolution Max engine. It's a total departure for Harley-Davidson in terms of traditionalists. Of course it is. Liquid cooled engine. It seems like a really good engine. Power's great. It revs freely. There's the clutch is silky smooth. The gear changing is silky smooth. It's, you know, it rides very much unlike a Harley. You know, it rides like a BMW or Triumph. You know, if you had to just close your eyes and just ride on it, I'd say it's very close to riding a Triumph, the way it rides. However, they needed a smaller brother. They need a smaller brother of it, because the engine block can stay the same, but they can change your cylinders on it, and they can change it from a 1250 to a 975, and I believe they could even make it down to a 750, I think, to a 550, or a 700 and a 500, one of the two. So they can actually bring it down. They use the same type of engine and they can bring it down. So what they're waiting for? If you want to take this leap into the future, if you want to say, right, we're going to attack the market, then make sure you're attacking the right market. Yeah, adventure bikes and everything, they're a massive part of the motorcycling world now. You know, they're very popular and it's the biggest sector. But you've got to look at the trend of that sector. You've got to look at, you know, people like me and others who have said that these bikes are just too heavy for solo riding off-road. If you want to go touring, fine, you know, do the odd farm track or whatever, they're great. But then you've got to ask yourself, as I said in the review, you know, well, if that's all you're going to do, you might as well have a road bike, because that'll do farm trails as well, easily. You don't need a Pan America for that. You don't need an adventure bike. But you'd probably be much better off with a tourer. That's a much better tourer than an adventure bike. Somebody wrote in, gave me a comment today. Was it today or yesterday? Sorry, I'm just losing track of time. But they were saying they took out a Pan America with a few friends with their wives, and the wives all found it really uncomfortable. The seating position, the rear pegs as well, when they were braking, they're always slipping forward as well. So, you know, for riding with pillions, it's not a great bike. You know, so riding by yourself, I mean, it rides great and everything, but you've got to think of so many other things if you're buying it as a tourer. If you're buying it as an off-road bike, it's just too big and heavy. Get yourself a smaller bike. So I think that's where, you know, having a 300cc, 400cc, I think a couple of other guys here in the chat, I mean, you're saying exactly the same thing as well. You know, but, you know, that kind of size, that's what they should really be aiming at. Or adding to the variety, adding to... You know, if you've got this engine now, this Revolution Max engine, which with minimal tinkering, let's say, minimal tweaking, you can offer different engine sizes, then do it. Bring it out, launch, have a massive launch party, you know, drop the curtain, the silk curtain, put on the lights and say, look, here we go, this is Harley-Davidson of the future. You've got ba-bam, 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 these are the bikes, and have a look at that. Then people are going to go, wow. Not have some limp-wristed, you know, product launch in January that everybody's scratching their head going, what the hell was all that about? Then drip feeding these little icon bikes, you know, the Revival that first came on, you know, only 1,500 units sold, you know, whatever. I mean, well, that's all they were going to offer anyway. But I mean, you know, it's that's why I find Harley-Davidson really confusing. You know, unlike any other motorcycle brand, that just seems to have much more of a clear direction of where they want to go. Doesn't mean they're more successful. That doesn't mean they're less successful either. It just means that they seem to have a more clear direction. You know, but there we go. Mike, here we go. Mike, HG needs a flat track bike, 750cc as Indian. Yeah. Okay, I'll read this fully here. Totally dominate flat track racing, even though Harleys sell the FG 750 flat track race for $36,000. Look, I'm glad you bring this up because Indian, you know, everybody was talking about Indian, whether they're good or not. Indian are a classic case here. They started off by bringing out essentially their Victory motorcycles, right? That's essentially what they started off with, and they're just coming out of the era of the Victory motorcycle design, and they're starting to come out of there. So if you look at an Indian motorcycle, some of the smaller ones, let's say, for me, it's not the design of the bike, it's the engine. The engine just looks fantastic from the side, looks brilliant. Then you look at, say, well, okay, they're just doing little soft tail, you know, cruisers, they're doing the bigger bikes, they're doing the big tourers, and you think, oh, God, they're just another American motorcycle company. They're just doing what Harley-Davidson are doing, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then you think, hold on a minute, hold your horses. What's this? They've got their flat tracker type, their adventure style bikes, let's say, and then you think, well, actually, they've hit it right. They know that there's going to be a market for their bikes, for the cruiser type rider, for the tourer rider, but there's another market that wants something completely different. But they may want to buy an American brand, or they may want to buy Indian. They may want to buy something with nostalgia. They may want to buy something with heritage. So all of a sudden you think, well, actually, if a small company, because they are a relatively small company with huge backing, of course, if a small company like Indian, who are growing rapidly, can do that, what's stopping Harley-Davidson from doing it? Why are they so stuck in the mud? You know, so it's you know, it's interesting. Here we go. Jerry, my adventure bike is 2002 XT600. The amount of times I've dropped it, if it was any other bike, it would be like a Quasimodo. Yeah, that's right. I've always said this about any kind of off-road bike riding. Never ever take your bike off-road if you're not prepared to drop it, because you will, and do not be surprised if you do, because you will. It's just a matter of time. It's not if, it's when. And you've got to be prepared to get that bike damaged, scuffed, dirty, whatever. So if you're riding a big bike, that's, guess what, more weight, you know, falling on its side, you're going to have more damage to it, more things sticking out. So if you can avoid it, I'm not saying avoid it, because I used to take big adventure bikes off-road all the time. But if you want to have a more off-road experience, then you need to go a lot lot lower cc and a lot lower, lighter bike, just so it can be thrown around. You know, the plastics can be bent back into shape. You know, you kick it and away you go again. So, you know, I'm all for that as well. I think Pan American's back on order now. I think they've definitely sold a lot more than a lot of people thought they were going to sell, and I think here, yeah, I think there's a waiting. I think some in particular colour schemes are still readily available, but others are not. But yeah, you're right. Chris, yeah, Indian are top notch. Polaris did the right thing there. Yeah, I agree. I think they've done really well there. Buell offered good, exciting, good handling bikes at Ulysses. Some call the first adventure touring bike. It did, yes. But HD spent 125 million to shut down a new Buell factory in January 2009. They did. I mean, look, people are still going on about that Buell situation. Why did they do that? Why? Beggars belief, isn't it? It beggars belief why they would do that. Because Buell, I thought I was a big fan of Buell, and still am. Still am a big fan of Buell. Just think about where they could have been now as a company with Buell right next to them. Just think about all the advances that they could have made, the different type of engines that they could have done, the racing heritage, what they could have achieved, what direction they could have gone in. You know, we wouldn't still be talking about Harley-Davidson as, you know, outdated, all this kind of stuff. We'd be talking about Harley-Davidson as a, wow, company of the future. It might be different. It might be kind of, retro biking, let's say. But I tell you what, people would be talking about them a lot. There we go. Jerry, yeah, you saw a Pan America the weekend. Not bad. No, yeah, I mean, again, nice bike, I would say, from the side. I don't care for the front at all in terms of looks. But overall, the bike rides good. It's a good riding bike. On the road, really nice, especially in sport mode. Really does a lot of the power. Off-road, yeah, it's great. But it's a big adventure bike, you know. It's but there we go. Right, anyway, so enough of that. But I wanted to, oh, hello. God, I need to stop my computer falling asleep. Sorry about that. Right. So yeah, the Pan America, I thought it was a great bike, but I think they hit the market wrong, and I think I think this bike is going to do really well in sales for Harley-Davidson, the Pan America. Initially, I just don't think long term it's going to do well. Let's just wait now, as I've been saying this the whole time. Let's just wait. When people have owned this for a while, then they've got their problems. Let's just see how many people are put off by it. Let's just see what the market dictates. Let's just see when other manufacturers really do start pushing out their smaller adventure touring type bikes. What an effect that has. That'll be interesting. Be interesting to see how Harley-Davidson reacts. Do they scrap the bike? Do they scrap the model? Or do they continue to mount their challenge against the others? Mike, Buell back in business. They'll be selling bikes in 2022. Made in Grand Rapids, Missouri. HG sold Buell name rights and tooling. New CEO has no ties with Eric Buell. Okay, so I thought Eric Buell had started an electric bicycle company. Was that right, or something like that? A few years ago, 2-3 years ago. But okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it'd be good to see Buell back in there. I mean, I always thought, I'm not going to be talking about this now in a moment. I always said, and I did say last year, that this year, 2021, because of the pandemic and because of the way things have gone, 2021 was going to be a bit of a dull year for motorcycling. But I think 2022, that's when we're going to see big things. we already know that Suzuki, Kawasaki are definitely revamping old models. They're coming out with some new models as well. Actually, all the Japanese, big Japanese 4R. We know that Husqvarna are bringing out e-bikes as well, and they're coming out with new bikes along with KTM. Norton, apparently, I did a video the other day about Norton, just a news story. I mean, I've done a follow-up video to it as well, kind of. And yeah, I kind of got a bit of a volley of abuse online from people saying I was totally wrong, you know, whatever, or what I was saying. Essentially, Norton have been taken over by TVS, an Indian company. They've kind of reinvested in the company, apparently, so they say. They say they've got a new management structure, which others totally disagree with, of course. They say they're fulfilling the order book and addressing all the issues from the past. This is from me reported it. I'm only reporting what they're saying. But owners, Norton owners, who had all the problems, who lost their bikes or lost parts, whatever, they're saying, no, that's not happening at all. Norton are still as bad as they always were. But now Norton is saying, or their company is saying, well, they moved into a new facility now that can produce, if they wanted to, up to 7,000 bikes. And they're also saying that 2022 into late 2022 into early 2023, they've got new motorcycle models coming as well. So they're not the only ones. Now, there might be some discrepancy about what potential they can do, or you know, what bikes they can bring to the market, or how, you know, how are they improving their customer relations. But you know, it's just like all these other motorcycle manufacturers, they will be bringing out new bikes. And I think right across the board, 2021 has been a bit of a dull year. But there we go. Here we go. Ah, yes, you're right. The company you run is called Fuel. That's right. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. Let's. Here we go. Let's just see what Umagram is. I'm sure I spelled his name wrong. Well, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, you know, him and Charlie Bullman, they did the live wire ride, didn't they? And again, you know, for me, yeah, whilst it was a good show, if any of you saw that, Long Way Up, I think it was called. And they rode the electric bikes. They had all the problems with charging them. The bikes themselves are okay. A couple of issues, technical issues earlier on, but it's the charging. But I think the big success of that show was the other electric vehicle manufacturer, Rivian, I think they're called, who did the 4x4 electric vehicles, two of them. They're the ones who put all the electric charging points, the infrastructure, from South America all the way up to the United States. So, you know, brilliant. They were good. There we go. Yeah, Eric Buell is working for an electric bike called Fuel. Yeah, he is an engineer consultant, not owner or investor. Oh, okay. I thought he actually owned it. There we go. Would I replace my SG with one? With a Pan America? I had thought about getting another bike, not to replace my Sport Glide, but it would be for a more all-round bike, an all-purpose bike, let's say, that will do a long tour, that will do, you know, some off-road, you know, basic off-road if I needed it to, if I was going on tour, that kind of thing, but also one that I would ride throughout the winter as well. But then I ride it and I thought, no, it wouldn't replace my SG. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to get a tourer, I would definitely get a proper tourer. And if I want to get an off-road bike, I would definitely just go for a proper off-road bike. There we go. Sounds like Norton would be built in UK, low production, top quality, well, expensive. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure about the top quality. We'll see. But yeah, so far all the plans are that they're going to be built in the UK. But look, I came in for a lot of criticism from people out there. I think it was mostly on Twitterville, I've got to say. But people out there saying that I was wrong and how dare I bring all this bad information, misinformation. Well, this is only what Norton themselves are saying. This is what TVS is saying. So they're saying they can build a load more bikes. They're going to bring out new models, and you know, they're going to be just like other companies. I think they wanted to try and align themselves or aim to be like a Ducati, you know, a small manufacturer, a limited amount of bikes, but good, decent bikes, you know. So that's where they're at. And, you know, and I think as we come out of 2021, as the world starts to reawaken as well, and people start traveling around and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I think people are going to want biking more and more. I think, you know, that's the way it's looking. But look, it's been interesting, as I just said about that, about waking up. You know, if you look at the motorcycle scene, let's say, over the last, well, certainly where I am, but in most parts of the world, most things have had to be organised. They've had to be low numbers and everything. There hasn't been the freedom just to go somewhere and attend somewhere. Everything has to be all pre-planned and stuff like that. Interestingly, I got a notification the other day that HOG, Harley Owners Group, their European Bike Week, have just been announced, or it's going ahead. Is it late August or September, something like that? Anyway, in Austria, because Austria have opened up their borders a little bit, I think. But you know, if you look right across the board, most events that I would go to are still not happening. They're still going to happen certainly for the rest of this year. So it's going to be 2022 when all things start opening up again. And maybe that's when we look at motorcycling in general. That's where probably everywhere is looking at right now. You know, they're saying, well, we're just going to tick over. I think they're ticking over right now in 2021. Everything's looking for 2022. A lot of Nortons will end up in the garage looking shiny, yeah, probably. I agree, Chris. I agree. I very rarely go on there myself personally. My content is shared on there, but you know, I do a lot of football content as well, sports content for another channel which I'm involved in as well. But you know, we all stay away from that because it really is a toxic area. I don't know why people go on it myself. General Motors drove 3 Corvair rear-engine air-cooled cars from USA to Colombia through Panama in like 1961. It took 3 months. 2 cars made it, and 1 got pirated. Yeah. Here we go. Sorry, wrong one. They had 4-wheel drive support trucks, and yeah, that's right. Yeah. And to bulldoze brush, they had to make their own roads. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Right, okay, so look, as I say, you know, the 2022, I think that's when, you know, more manufacturers coming up. Harley-Davidson as a company, they're looking at this Revolution Max engine. Everybody's speculating what they're going to use this engine for. Are they going to use it in this low custom, which a lot of people are calling the new Sportster? I don't think it can be. It's a different type of bike. Unless they come out with a new frame, a new model that makes it really slimline, you know, lightweight and everything, I think, you know, you got a chance there. But then are you looking, well, you're not going to put a 1250 in there, you're probably looking at a liquid cooled engine, because remember, there's a lot more power out of that liquid cooled engine than a 1200, let's say, Sportster engine. So you're probably looking, what, a 700, 900 cc? Are they going to come out with a Bronx again? You know, I mean, who knows? But interesting. I mean, I've been looking around a lot of the biking world recently. There's a lot of weirdness going on out there. I think there's a lot of absurdities I still find in the biking world, but not only in industry, in motorcycle industry, and the motorcycle manufacturers, but from the dealerships, but it's just generally the way people act. I mean, you know, I made a video about this, so watch it coming out on the channel. But essentially, I made a tech video for the Rev 2000 members area, and to cut long story short, the full video is there for you to watch. But essentially, we're talking about rear suspension problems, seizing rear suspension units on Harley-Davidson Softails, and there's a whole backstory behind it. One of the things that came out of that particular story was that at a Harley-Davidson dealership, there was an event going on, like a barbecue type thing, and there was a whole load of HOG members, Harley Owners Group members there, and they all looked at their bikes after one particular guy was wanted to get his suspension unit changed. The whole backstory behind this, I won't go into it, but essentially, I think they found 9 suspension units, all not broken, but seized on these bikes. Okay, and apparently there was a few Harley owners, group of Hulk members, who did not want to complain to the dealership, and get their bikes fixed, because they thought there was some kind of, they didn't want to upset the dealership who support the, their chapter, or whatever they call themselves. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know where the priorities are here. If you've got a defective part on your bike, you need to get that changed. As simple as that. So there's interesting stories coming out all over the place right now. There's some interesting stories about motorcycle clubs and groups. A lot of motorcycle groups and clubs kind of been struggling over the last sort of year, being sort of, it's not my scene. Motorcycle clubs are not my scene, by the way. So, but it's interesting that they've all gone quiet in a lot of respects. Depends where you're on the world, of course, and what local restrictions you've had. But there's been lots of stuff that hasn't been able to happen. So, clubs have been, struggling, as of all businesses, as of all motorcycle businesses, all events, let's say. But motorcycle groups, they've had to go into more of an online model, which is really interesting as well. All club members or group members all doing Zoom calls with each other over the last year and a half, which is really interesting. But here in the UK, this was just announced today that the Motorcycle Action Group, which is a motorcycle lobby group, they've teamed up with the National Young Riders Forum, which I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of this National Young Riders Forum. And they've just launched this new video. Well, it's a safety film, I suppose. Or it's a promotional film, safety awareness promotional film type thing. And it's basically about promoting filtering awareness and to promote friendly filtering. So basically, what here in the UK, if you don't know, if you're not from this country, or if you're not from other parts of the world, other countries that allow this, that we can ride our motorcycles in between stationary traffic on the road, let's say, at a slow speed, just to get to the front of the queue at traffic lights. If you're in the United States, you'll know this. They do this in California, but most states they don't allow it. So, but even here, it's been allowed for years and years and years. You still get people in their cars or their lorries or their vans or whatever that don't know that motorcycles can do this. Don't appreciate that we can do it, and people still get offended by it. But it's interesting. It's interesting that they felt that they needed to do this when possibly people just need to read the rules of the road, as it were, a little bit. But it's interesting they've come out with this. And again, this Motorcycle Action Group, they've had to become more online. Local groups have, I would say they've struggled to keep it together, but I think everybody's starting to come out of this a little bit now. But there we go. Here we go. Right. C suspension, no problem for Harley riders. They still like hardtails. Yeah, exactly. I think one of the problems was the C suspensions here, Mike, was that many of the riders did not even know that they'd seized. That's the thing, because they ride solo. They never adjust their bikes. They never adjust their suspension. They never, adjust it just for the sake of adjusting it, just to make sure that everything's still free. So that was the interesting thing, and this is kind of, we've known about this for a while, in that as well. The Bronx was supposed to be a 950cc version. Is it 950 or 975? I can't remember. Yeah, one of the two. Yeah, definitely. What's this one? The Livewire South America Adventure had diesel fuel generator with them. That's right. They absolutely did. They had to use it a couple of times as well. Here we go. Loads of Harley bikes here in France, but all want to look like Peter Fonda. Captain America. Yeah, I bet. some big cities in France have banned it. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about that, wasn't there? There was a lot of talk about motorcycles being banned, big CC motorcycles being banned, custom bikes being banned, exhausts and all aftermarket exhausts, all that kind of stuff. Lots of change was coming. Lots of change was has been muted the last you know. There we go. Dave B here. Hello, Dave. Harley suspension is so bad. How would you tell if it was seized? Well, that's the thing. Most riders did not know it was seized. They didn't. They did not know it was seized at all. And that's the thing. If you don't know it was seized, then you just carry on. Let's be honest here. Most people who ride motorcycles of any type of motorcycle, they very rarely adjust their suspension. Very rarely. Even if they're taking a passenger, they very rarely adjust it. They find that middle spot. You know, if you've got a grade from 1 to 5, let's say on mine it's 1 to 5, but you know, different notches, different settings. You kind of find the middle one, and then you learn how to ride on that middle one, or you get comfortable riding on that middle one, and then you accept the latitude of either side. You know, some people notice a huge difference if they have to change it, or if they change the weight on it. You know, so you know, there are ways of dealing with suspension that isn't working correctly. Let's say that isn't performing to its optimum capability, by just adjusting the way you ride a little bit, so you're not demanding so much from the suspension. But you could say the same for clutch and brakes and all that kind of stuff as well. But there we go. You know, so most people never ever adjust their suspensions. But if you do, you'll note it. But these suspension units, these rear shocks, shock absorbers on the, or shocks on the soft tails in particular, they've had a problem with them right from the word go. But there we go. That's it. So anyway, so there's a big whole story about that on the Rev 2000 members area, and also there's a follow-up video coming up about that as well on the website as well. Right, so there's another thing here I wanted to talk about. Yeah, but that Motorcycle Action Group, they're coming out with a new video here. But that's an interesting stuff. Well, Harley-Davidson and Indian, let's put it this way, companies do not need to fear about sending their motorcycles over to Europe anymore. So apparently, this has come out today or yesterday, that the US Secretary of Trade, I think she is, I can't remember. And she came out and made a statement saying basically the United States and the European Union have come to some kind of agreement. There's this 17-year battle over, you know, this tariff war, trade war that's been going on. Now, the big thing here was that the European Union wanted to impose a 56% tariff on all imported goods from the United States. But Harley-Davidson have always wanted to just export at a 6% tax. So basically, that's why they started producing motorcycles in Taiwan, or wherever it was, Thailand, wasn't it? Thailand. So that the bikes come from Thailand into Europe. So therefore, they don't have to pay 6%. However, the Europeans said, no. You have to pay now like 32% or something. But because you've been very naughty boys, you really have to pay 56%. Then a few weeks ago, that was suspended, or, you know, they said, right, okay, you only have to pay the 32%. Now they've had more talks with the United States and European Union, and they've come up, they've all shaken hands, and they said, no, you don't have to pay that anymore. So that means that the prices are not going to go through the roof for Harley-Davidson or for Indian in Europe and also in the UK as well. Because whilst it's separate now, it's still, the prices are still going to be the same in that respect. So that's it. Now, also, one of this other thing here, let me just turn that off. One of the other things that has come out here, do you know MV Agusta? MV Agusta, Italian motorcycle brand, higher end. You know, they had great days back in the day, as it were, 50s, 60s, died. Then they came back a few years ago, and basically what happened was that MV Agusta were bought out in, where was it, 2009, by Russian family, the Sadarov family, who took over from the Castiglione family. Okay, and essentially what they've been doing since 2019. Originally they were just supposed to go in as investors to help us, but eventually they decided to take over, and they've been basically reorganizing the lineup here of their models and the MV Agusta. They've addressed ownership and reliability issues, and they've had they have investment ready for big expansion plans for new models, and they're going to be coming out here again. Look, this is MV Agusta, a very small motorcycle manufacturer, building high-end motorcycles. This is exactly what they do. So there's parallels here between them and what Harley-Davidson perceive that they do, right? Okay. They're coming out with two new engine size motorcycles, a 550cc and a 950cc, and they're saying that it's gonna take them about 24 months to bring out production bikes, you know, for what they're doing. So that's their mindset. The mindset is we produce, you know, signature top end bikes, but we want to bring out small bikes as well. So again, it just affirms what I've been saying the whole time. This is what companies need to do. But right now what they have been doing is looking at their current model lineup, and they're trying to get a lot of that all signed up to Euro 5 compliance. This is all the emissions sort of stuff as well, in Europe as well. So interestingly, they also said, again, this is about expansion. This is about, can Harley-Davidson and other companies, can they take a leaf out of somebody else's book, as it were? They also said that Sadarov also hinted that Cagiva, the Italian motorcycle manufacturer that's kind of been dormant for the last 10 years, they could come back. They could come back as an old brand, or there's another Elephant brand that used to make an adventure bike. It could either be like a Cagiva on its own, or Elephant on its own, or Cagiva Elephant branded motorcycle, or range of motorcycles that could be brought out, and especially to tap into more of that off-road or that adventure bike world as well. So from a very small company like MV Agusta, they got big plans, and that's very interesting that, you know, companies like MV Agusta, like Norton, whatever, they're looking at the future. They're looking at 2022, 2023 and beyond. And they're thinking, right, okay, we've got all our big signature bikes, but we're going to expand the range. We're going to give smaller engines, you know, this kind of thing. You know, take note. You know, I could say this till I'm blue in the face, but it's no surprise that other companies are doing it. It doesn't mean they'll be successful. It doesn't mean they're going to sell in big numbers, but they're offering variety. They're offering brand, or they're introducing brands. They're introducing, it's name association, isn't it? Brand association. You get people hooked, and they like that brand. You know, it's like your first, you know, a tin of baked beans, or your first set of cornflakes, or whatever it is. You know, as a child, you kind of have that, and you think, oh, I'm going to have that for the rest of my life, you know, that kind of thing. Exactly the same. You buy into a brand, whatever it is, Triumph, KTM, as a youngster, and you'll always have some kind of an affinity for it. My very first motorcycle was a Kawasaki as a 10-year-old. Myself and my brother, we got an old trail bike, Kawasaki K175. To this day, I still love Kawasaki's. I still love, because guess what? They make great bikes, but also it's a kind of an affinity for that as well. But there we go. So here we go. This is Jerry. Macron would love a Harley. Heard he and Biden had a big discussion about it. Yeah, I bet I think they had a big discussion about other things as well. But I'm sure you're right. I could just see them two on Harleys. Actually, I can't see Biden on a Harley at all. I think that'd be quite dangerous. Biden, do not get on a Harley-Davidson, you know. But there we go. Right, anyway, so that's a bit of the news show this week, and I really should hold on, wait a minute. I've been waiting to do this for ages. Hold on. Oh, the moment's gone, hasn't it? Where's my thing? It's gone. Okay, I was going to shuffle some papers, but there we go. There we go. There's me shuffling papers. And that's it. That's the end of the show. That's the end of the news. That's the end of the news, people. That's the end of the news. That's the end of the show, I think. What, I've got over an hour. Been doing it. I need to... The coffee's gone cold as well. How do newsreaders do this? How do they do that? Just constantly talk and not get a sore throat. Crikey. But there we go. Anyway, so... let's gossip. Here we go. I missed a couple of here. I assume there was that was a negotiation tax of some sort. 56% seemed excessive. I think it was as well. I think the European Union were, let's put it this way, flexing their muscles. Let's say, you know, puffing out their chests. I don't think there was anything that they were ever going to do. But anyway, listen. Thanks very much for everybody for joining in, right? And please, next time I do this, please join in again. And you know, there's going to be lots more news. You know, I'd really love to do a weekly show. Whether I can, whether I do leave it from a 2 weekly show, whatever. It may not be at the same time. I might do it in the morning, in the evening, whatever. But if you prefer me to do it at the same time every week, let me know. If there's a particular time, obviously there's a global audience or a potential global audience, so it's never going to be the right time for some people, and it's never going to be the wrong time for some people, if you know what I mean. So there's always going to be something there. But anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for, you know, joining the chat. Now, if you want to come on, as I said in when I was advertising this, if you want to come on, essentially this is what happens. Okay, you email in, I will send you the link. The video link to come and join here. So you'll come in on my program here. So what you'll need is your phone. All you need, you do it off your phone. You could do it off a laptop, a computer with a webcam or whatever. The easiest thing would be to hold up your phone and just work off your phone or your tablet or whatever. And yeah, then I would just bring you in here, and then you'd be speaking to me directly through this. So all I'd have to do is put on some earphones, and away we go. Right. Anyway, so but next time, that's what I'll be doing. I'll bring you another stuff. Hopefully, bring you a bit more news, maybe a bit more gossip, what I hear about. But let us know if there's anything you want to talk about, of course, in the for next time as well. If there's any more stories about Softail Centauros on the M8 engine, most notably, because that's what I make sort of videos about in the tech videos for the members area. But let us know, send in those emails as well. But you know, don't forget to, you know, tell your friends about the channel. Really appreciate that. Tell everybody to subscribe and hit that bell and like and share the videos and all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate it. Go check out the website, RevelatorAlf.com, and there's lots of stuff there for you, I think. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Anyway, right, gotta go. But thanks very much. And, well, I think there's a bit of football I need to watch now as well. Right, cheers all. Ta-da.